This is going to be Bruno Silva versus Chris Weidman. And Bruno Silva, he's actually 1-4 in his last 5. He's coming off that loss via decision to Shara Magomedov. Chris Weidman's also 1-4, 15-7 overall, 1-4 in his last 5. He's coming off that decision loss to Brad Tavares. Before that, he actually broke his leg to Uriah Hall, so that was a kind of comeback fight for him in that sense. Let's look at the odds for this fight right now. We have Bruno Silva at minus 285, opened up at a minus 200. Man, it pains me to say this, but I think that this is going to be the Chris Weidman retirement fight here. They put it in his neck of the woods, I think, just for the crowd to kind of cheer him on. I'll be somewhat rooting for him too, because he's a UFC champion, showed a lot of good fights in the UFC, but I think that this is just going to be too dangerous of a fight for him. I mean, Brad Tavares was not a dangerous fighter, and he was almost finished in that fight, Chris Weidman. So I mean, the leg kicks were there all day for Brad Tavares. Bruno Silva is much more dangerous than Brad Tavares. I mean, he KO'd Brad Tavares 11 months ago, so just want to point that out. Yeah, I just think that Silva, yes, he is inconsistent, right? But he showed a lot in that Shara fight. I mean, he lost, but he still didn't give up. Brandon Allen, that was actually a pretty close fight, 50-50 on the stand-up, right? And I think that was a closer fight than what people would assume. But he lost that fight, and I just think he's the much more dangerous guy here. At this point, Chris Weidman, he's a tough dude, but I think the time has come for him to potentially retire. I mean, I feel that he has just looked much worse in his losses than Bruno Silva even in his losses. So I think Silva is going to catch him via KO. I see this as a parlay piece as well. I think I'm fading Chris Weidman at this point, but I'm going to root for him because, I mean, he's a veteran, did a lot for the game, the MMA and the UFC, and, I hope that he ends off on a high note, but this is reminding me of when Chris Gutierrez KO'd Frankie Edgar. So it's giving me those kind of vibes, and I see similar things happening in this fight. So yeah, give me Bruno Silva via KO, and I'll probably stuff him in some parlays as well.